Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. But we are joined by returning guest and very special guest and friend of the podcast, Mr. Jamual Forrest, host of the Trap or Dive podcast. How are you doing tonight, Maul? How you feeling?
Hey man, I'm good. Amidst the chaos, you know what I'm saying? I'm trucking.
Chaos.
I just got done. Chaos, man. We gotta keep it a buck. You know, I'm trucking though, but just got done my workout. Ready to enjoy the weekend festivities or whatever we got in store.
Chaos. What's going on?
Hey, I just found out probably about 24, 48 hours ago that one of my favorite players is actually he's his jersey being retired at FedEx Field, and that wasn't news to me up until like that time. So I had to stop everything that I was doing to turn up and enjoy the festivities. You know what I'm saying? I gotta show up to the game and show up for my boy.
It's a must. It's a must.
Dude, it is absolutely a must to come out for the boy, for Sean Taylor. And look, we'll get into it later on. We'll have plenty of time to be able to do that. But let's get into some fan questions. Let's do a round table to kind of talk about this football game and the matchup coming up. And so the first one we'll go with is our guy, Tony Shivers. And he wants to know, and I'll start this with you, Jamual. Do you think this game this weekend, going against the Kansas City Chiefs, with it being Sean Taylor's retirement for his number of the Washington football team, do you think that it will be competitive?
I do think it'll be competitive. So some people do ask, like I heard this comment earlier today. I don't even remember where I heard it from, whether it was Twitter or radio or something. People were kind of amped and saying that the players are going to be playing for Sean and stuff like that. And in my head, while it sounded good, you know, in theory to say something like that, half of these guys probably didn't. I mean, of course they heard of Sean Taylor, but they didn't know him. Right. Like they're not going to be extra motivated to play for him and things like that. That's not always the case. But from a actual just standpoint of them going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, yes, it'll be competitive. I feel like Washington will have a chance to stay in this game in numerous ways, mainly on their offensive side of the football. But it'll be competitive, man, and I'm looking forward to it. My bets, you know, when we get down to the picks and stuff like that, will kind of lead you to believe that it may not be competitive. But trust me, Washington will have a really good shot at winning the game.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. So what about you, Reed? I know, look, this is insane to even look at this game and to say that it would be competitive based on how Washington football team has played up until this point. Luckily, having 2 wins at this point, they haven't played like a top 10 team, but they're facing one this weekend. Do you think it's going to be competitive?
I think it has to be competitive. Like you said, not many players actually, none, I guarantee, actually knew Sean Taylor, but James, get off me. But they all know his history. They all know that this is a huge, important game for us fans, for this organization. And really, Kansas City, of course, we all know how good they are. We all know Patrick Mahomes. We all know everything that they got going on, but they really haven't been playing that good this year. I mean, the only thing that concerns me is the Terry McLaurin situation. I'm sure we'll touch on that. But can Washington be competitive? Definitely. And I think that they will be. I think they'll come out with a lot of heart. And I think that it will be competitive. But will they win? Probably not. But I think they'll definitely make it a good game. Hey, any given Sunday, you know, they made an entire movie about it. That statement's so true.
Yeah, and I just think this is one of those games that Washington typically does play up for and does pretty well. So I do think it will be competitive, given the fact that the Bills kind of gave a blueprint on how to stop Mahomes. Now, obviously, we don't have the defensive pieces and confidence that the Buffalo Bills have to be able to stop the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are absolutely insane. I'm going to say stop. To limit them. Does Washington have enough horses to be able to do that? I don't know. But can Washington be able to run the football effectively enough to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field for them to be able to score points and have a chance? I think so. I think that is a realistic possibility, in my opinion. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I do think that it can be competitive, and I think it will be for maybe 2.5 to 3 quarters, maybe a little bit into the fourth. I just think that Kansas City just has too many horses on that offensive side of the football for us to keep up on our offensive side of the football. obviously our team is like at one point I think going into week 4 they're 11th in point scoring or something like that.
Yeah.
But
They're
I just
averaging
like I said, I just
25
think
per
that
right now, I think.
yeah, 25 per. But I just know that like I said, high-powered offense on Kansas City. Their defense surprisingly is actually worse than ours. Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
So that'll definitely give us a chance to stay in the game. But like I said, I just think that at the end of the day, too many injuries at the wide receiver spot, not enough weapons on our side. But I do think it'll be competitive about 3.5, maybe a little close to 4 quarters.
Yes. And look, sorry, go Maul.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I was gonna piggyback on Hall in the sense that when I say competitive, that's literally what I mean. Like he nailed it to a T. Competitive means like from the bottom line standpoint is obviously like you're there every single snap. Like you're not defeated, you're not quitting,
Right.
things like that. The question is can you keep up? Like that's gonna be the bigger question, and Hall answered that. Like, can you keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs?
Right.
These guys are still number 5 in the NFL offensively in yards per game. They got horses. Like we know that Mahomes is that guy, and that's kind of where you're asking. Like, yes, you can compete. Yes, you can score points against this Chiefs defense, but can you score if you have 12 possessions on offense? Can you score on 10 of them? Can you score? And if you can't score on 10 of them, you lost. Because that's Kansas City scoring on. If they got 12, they scoring on 11. Like that's how it is.
Yes, it is. And before we get into our next fan question, I just wanted to say the Burgundy Zone is part of Listen Frederick, a curated network of local podcasts produced in and focused on the Frederick area. Along with highlighting local talent, Listen Frederick hopes to bring local stories, voices, and personalities together to create a podcast community. Listen Frederick is part of the Manning Media family, home of Key 103 and 106.9 The Eagle. You can check out more about us and other shows in the network at www.listenfrederick.com. Now, this next one is going to be based on the drama that is surrounding the football team. I know we're going to get into the football based and everything going on, but this is our guy, Andy Burrows. And he reached out to us in the UK. Oi! And this is our brother, and he wants to know. So, just hear me out, guys. He wants to know, Kyle, tell me why I should put in so much effort to this team when we get absolutely nothing back. The only thing this team has given me is amazing friendships, and I include you all in that. However, right now, I'm embarrassed to be a Washington football team fan, and trust me, that takes some doing. And he says, straight up question, no BS. I'm 10,000% struggling with this team right now, and I'm pulling any more effort into them. He's questioning putting any more effort into them. What do you think about that, Jamal?
Well, the good thing is I'm on for this episode. He said no BS. All right, I got you. Look, here's the easy thing. Look, you've been around long enough for people to understand if you take a step away from the team. Like I know people want to get talked off the ledge, and I'm not telling you to go over and take that jump. I'm just saying when you face these questions, you got to understand that it's perfectly fine to rid yourself of toxicity. I'm not saying that this new regime is under it, like, because that's a whole different discussion. I have my thoughts and opinions on those, but I'm saying if you're talking about this actual situation, and you're talking about the accumulation of things, and if you feel that type of way about if you're questioning your fandom or you're questioning your energy and motivation for this team, step away. It's perfectly fine, and we understand it. I have a person, like I told you all, I just got done training. I lie to you not. I swear on everything. Like 2 days before the Sean Taylor situation broke out about the jersey and stuff like that, 2 days before, I found out, I mean, I knew he was a Skins fan, but I found out that he had stopped being a fan in like 2011. That was a year before RG3 even got there, and that didn't even faze him. He did not buy back in. He didn't even buy back in. He said, I'm done with this team. So when he found out about the Sean Taylor situation, again, a person who was done for 10 years, he was pissed. He was pissed 2 days ago when he found out about the Sean Taylor thing. He was pissed off. Like a person who was that distant from the team got that emotional from something as simple as that. Like, it's crazy. So trust me, Andy, if you feeling some type of way, we understand it. If you want to stay, like, look, we're crazy. We're insane too. We're still here. We're still talking about them. We're on the podcast right now talking about them.
It's so true. Reed, can you try to help our boy Andy out?
Yeah, I mean, Andy, I get it. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship too. I think we all do. The only thing is, man, it's unfortunate, but like we were kind of talking about earlier, like we brought in Ron and Jason Wright and these guys, and are they the right people to do it? I don't know, but we brought them in for a culture change. And unfortunately, sometimes when you're going to have a culture change, you're going to have some skeletons come out of the closet. You're going to have some ugly stuff happen. You're gonna that, like all these reports that you're hearing about Bruce Allen and all this stuff. And unfortunately, you kind of just got to buckle down and bear with it. I mean, but I'm not going to blame you if you take a little break from the team. Like Jamal said, I know people that have went through it for mental health reasons. They just couldn't take it anymore. I don't blame them for it. I personally won't be doing that because I think that we will end up getting through this and we will end up being okay. Could the Sean Taylor situation have been handled differently? 1,000%. It should have been handled differently. And it's frustrating. But I mean, I guess it is what it is. It's cool that we're going to see Sean Taylor get his number retired. Now, if I was a fan, I would not be going to the stadium to boo the team this week. I mean, do what you want. I would be mad at the team too. Go boo all you want, but maybe wait a week. I don't know, time and place. Maybe Sean Taylor's jersey retirement's not the best place for that, in my opinion.
If they suck on the field, man.
Well, if they suck on the field, that's one thing, right? But if you're just going,
you're saying like during. Oh, got you. Okay.
Yeah. If you're just going there to boo the organization, I mean, maybe wait a week. I don't know, 2 weeks. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I feel you, Andy. I know it's tough, but you'll be all right. The good thing, Andy, is you're from the UK, so you don't even have a home team. You can pick whoever you want if you wanted to, but I'm happy that you picked the heartache with Washington. So that says a lot about you, man. Respect. Not many people would choose this.
No, not that many people would choose it, to be honest. And Andy, I can't say that I can talk you off the ledge, to be perfectly honest, because you're not me. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to be able to do whatever the heck you want to do, to be perfectly honest. I was just the other day, whatever I said on Twitter, was just I just want to get back to normal the way things were, and I'm just tired of complaining about how things are because it's not something you could control. And so that's just where I'm at. I just want to get back to normal, man. I just want to party with my guys. Now, me personally, I know I'm not going to be doing anything else. There's nothing else I'd rather be doing right now than talking about the Washington football team with a guy like Jamal, who I was able to connect with on Twitter to talk about this football team because that's the commonality that we share. And that's what I'll continue to do. Now, I can't tell you to do the same because you're not me. And so are the other people. I completely understand that. You do you, I'll do me. That's fine. I'm going to continue doing it. You know, I'm going to continue repping this team as crappy as it looks. But the fact is, nothing else I'd rather be doing, man. What about you, Hall?
Nah, I'm 100% with y'all, and like Ree kind of hit it pretty much on the head. Where when you're trying to just start something from the very bottom and just rebuild it back to the top, eventually them skeletons at the very, very bottom, they're gonna rise up out the dirt and get to the top. But until all that stuff is kind of cleaned up in a way, and all that stuff is out there and just it's out in the open, kind of like therapy. It's out in the open. You got it out your system. Okay, we can move forward now. We can move on. That stuff is in the past.
Right.
And again, like y'all said, I mean, obviously I've been rocking with this team for my whole life, so I'm not gonna just drop it now. I mean, I definitely do see good times ahead. I don't know if that's in the future or in the near future or in the far future, but at some point in time, I mean, look at the Browns. The Browns were horrible for so long, and they finally got it right. So why can't we?
Right.
So you might as well just stick around, just like the Browns fans did, and enjoy this roller coaster of a ride. And once we get to the top, like the Superman ride of Six Flags, it's going to be a hell of a ride on the way down. So it's only good times ahead, hopefully. So at the end of the day, you never know. And that's hopefully you stick around for the ride.
And that's the thing. Now, I'm not ashamed to admit this. I'm just kidding. I've never been to therapy, but that's one thing that I hear that you're taught in therapy is that you got to face your problems head on before you can move on. And maybe, hey, Washington's got to face their problems head on, before we can move on. And will we ever move on? Probably not, because there's always something going on with us. It's been like that our whole lives. But it would be cool to see one day,
Yeah, absolutely.
I swear they'll change. Just give them a chance. You guys don't know them like I do. That's kind of how I feel right now.
So listen, I got a question for you all, man, because we're talking about the state of fandom, and Andy asking that question. I think Ron Rivera said this week that when it comes to fan attendance and people just not being around anymore, he said it comes down to winning games. I'm going to ask you all, at what point can you get the people back invested in the team, but also get them in the stadium too? Because I don't think it's as simple as just winning with this franchise. I think it's going to take a lot more with first off, how things went down this week. Like that was very detrimental. Like there was some people who lost, like they lost faith in the team once again. Like whatever trust that was kind of gained, it was broken again. So where are you all with that question? Like what would it take in your eyes? Because I don't think it's as deep. I mean, I don't think it's as simple as we just got to win. I think it's a little bit more than that.
Well, so I do think that this is such a football town when you really look at the sports teams, that like when Washington does good, when the football team does good, that's easily the number one sport. I mean, you look at the Nationals and the Capitals, and when they're winning, I mean, people go to these games, people will die for the football team to be good. So I do think that eventually they will come back around, but you're right. I think there's really got to have to be some shakeup. There's going to be some changes. People's got to see that this is like that this is a serious change. Like we're not just going to have a 1 year wonder where we win the NFC East again and then we're right back. Terrible reports keep coming out. Like I think people really got to see that like this is a new direction, a new generation. I really think that the name change is going to help with that. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll take a little bit more in winning games too.
I think it is an accumulation of things, but I do think the number one thing, I said it when Ron Rivera was hired, that it would take a Dan Snyder statement. I don't mean just a regular statement, just coming out and saying something. This is going to have to be something from the heart, and what he's going to have to be able to move mountains in doing it, and essentially taking all the blame, and essentially saying, I am the reason that we are in the position that we are in. I am blessed to be in the position that we are. I just want to let you guys know that I am also a fan. I know that I have done a poor job of deteriorating that image, of creating the animosity between the relationship between you and I. But it is my job to be able to fix that. And that's what I am currently trying to do. And I understand I have zero of your trust and I have to earn your trust. But I will gain that back, and I will do everything I can to gain that back to get a winner here. Because in my heart, I know from people that know Dan Snyder personally, the guy is just a fan. He wants his team to win really, really bad, and it's just like the Michael Scott of The Office type of owner where he just can't get out of his own way. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy. I'm just saying like it's that sort of thing where I don't think he's some malicious dude that's a sexual predator that is being assumed currently. I think there is more to it. I think there are layers here. And but I think you're right, Jamal, by saying it's not strictly winning. But what it's going to have to do is Dan's going to have to repair his image. And that's for the relationship to actually come into fruition. Because right now, the disdain for Snyder is what's keeping people away from that stadium initially for their support currently until they win games, if that makes sense.
I think it's a little bit of both of what you guys said. I think that it's definitely like it's not just winning. I think it's consecutive winning. Like Reed said, you can't just come out
consistent
7-9. Like, hey, look at us, we're 7-9. We won the division.
Right.
Like, yay, happy. But say we would have came out and competed, maybe not won the division, but got into the wild card, which obviously is still plausible, but doubtedly, highly doubtful. But it's still in the mix. Get into the wild card game, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, well, I know there's a lot of stuff going on like off the field, but these players are still out here kind of winning games, and they've made the playoffs 2 years in a row, and maybe they have a winning record this time. Maybe they're 9-8, maybe they're 8-9, maybe they've improved a little bit slightly, but it's just a small little baby steps of improvement that comes on the field, and that'll kind of hopefully translate to off the field with people coming back to be like, okay, well, the players are still playing through all the stuff going on off the field, and it really has nothing to do with the new regime. It's all the old stuff that's coming out to light. So maybe the new regime is kind of like, hey guys, keep the focus on the field, do your thing, and it'll come. Kind of like if you build it, it will come type of thing. And I just think that hopefully Ron and these guys will just kind of keep building it slowly, and eventually people will come.
Yeah, I can respect that. I'm sorry, Jamal. I know mine was long-winded. But our next question
You're fine.
is from Brandon Reinbold, and he wants to know, let's bring this back to the game plan for Sunday. I know the drama is heavy. The toxicity is everywhere. We're System of a Down right now, but it's cool. He wants to know
toxicity.
What are Jamal? I actually saw earlier that you had put up a new article, and this goes into it. He wants to know, Brandon does, what are the 3 keys to winning Sunday's game?
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'll just name one. So I think for me, it's going to come down to key situations, and one of the things that I mentioned was the red zone offense for Washington against Kansas City's red zone defense. Metrics obviously are important. The one thing to take into account when you talk about the Chiefs versus Washington is that both defenses in third down situations are terrible. But then both defenses aren't that good in the red zone either. Washington went 2 of 5 last week in the red zone against the New Orleans Saints, who happens to be the number one red zone defense to begin with. But secondly, the fact that you did that, you started out 50% on third downs too. I want to say the first half of the game, and then it ended up going way south. Like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you're like 30% by the time the game was over, around that number. So for when it comes to Washington, it's all about converting in key metrics, and I think red zone is going to be important. You're going to have those opportunities in the red zone, and that's where I kind of think Scott Turner is going to have to be on point. Taylor Heineke is going to have to be on point, but also they're going to have to make sure that they feed Antonio Gibson. When that field is,
they were 4 for 11 on third down.
Yeah, so I'm about to say. Matter of fact, you know what's crazy? I think when I saw it, they were like 4 of 8. And then they or maybe 2 of 4. It was either 2 of 4 or 4 of 8. I did see a 4 number in there. But anyway, like in that red zone, Taylor Heineke's gonna have to be on point. When that field shortens and the zones become tighter, you're gonna have to first off buy yourself some time, which he already does perfectly fine with that. That's perfectly fine. He's a natural at creating himself some time. But when you find that open void in the defense, you have to be accurate and you have to be on time. You like that. That's where Taylor Heineke struggles for the most part. His struggles has been throwing late, but also very inaccurate. Whether he's throwing high, whether he's throwing late, whether he's throwing too far out or just floating the ball out there, it becomes dangerous. But secondly, Scott Turner, when it comes to Antonio Gibson, you have to understand, and this is what I wanted to say a little bit earlier, Kyle, when you mentioned being able to run the ball well and keep Kansas City off the field. I agree, but is Scott Turner going to commit to the run?
Yep.
Is he going to commit to the run? Antonio Gibson, I believe, had 20 carries, if I'm not mistaken, against the Saints. And that was his first time. Yep, and that was his first time really seeing that much attention in terms of being a ground guy. So how much is Scott Turner going to commit to the run? And I think that's where he'll have his most impact is inside the 20, especially against the defense who's struggling right now to both stop the run and the pass. They're just terrible. So converting in key metrics, man, it's important.
Yeah, I just want to give an excuse for Scott Turner ahead of time. If the game starts out 21-0, I mean, we can't really blame Scott, for not running the football. You know what I mean?
Hey, all the run plays, throw it out the window. We passed it.
Another key though, this is going to be so tough if Terry does end up missing this game. I mean, because then you're looking at missing Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, possibly De'Ami Brown again. Like, hey, so you're going to need some guys to step up, man. Ricky Seals-Jones, of course, like you said, I think third downs are obviously our biggest obviously Achilles heel, and they're also going to have to try to get after Mahomes. I mean, it's tough, but it's got to be done. They got to apply some pressure on him. They got to make him uncomfortable, which is really next to impossible because the guy just doesn't get uncomfortable and he can throw the ball from any angle. But you got to do what you can, and you got to try to get off the field on third downs on defense. And it's going to be hard, especially if they do miss Terry. Without Terry, this game's, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think Ron Rivera in his press conference actually alluded to what one of my keys was, and that was confusing their offense, essentially. Because with Pat Mahomes, if he knows what you're in, he's going to be able to find the outlet. He's one of those quarterbacks. So you're going to have to punch him in the mouth.
Who I want to punch in the mouth is his brother. His brother's the worst.
Yeah, that was a funny video.
No, he just sucks. He's a TikTok star.
No, I know, but he also poured water on
that was the Ravens fan.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But the reason why I say that is because the Tampa Bay game from the Super Bowl last year. You know, the Tampa Bay's defense is very good, obviously in the back end, but they were able to get to Pat and disrupt everything, take them out of their rhythm. But obviously on the flip side of that, Tampa was able to score points and force them into passing situations, and that's what it goes down to. But my number one key is getting Pat Mahomes uncomfortable. Just getting him uncomfortable. Maybe not even bringing him down, but just throwing his offensive lineman just throw them at him. You guys are so strong. Just throw them at him. Just get him uncomfortable and moving a little bit. That's one of my biggest keys. What about you all?
Yeah, mine's kind of the same, right along with y'all. My key to this is going to be that front four. I know we've been saying it since the offseason coming into the season, the front four. Well,
yeah,
this is the week where the front four is going to be key because Pat Mahomes against 5+ rushers, which Washington third highest blitzing team in the league at 34% right now. Passer rating of 1 of 16.5 when facing 5+ rushers. That don't bode well for us because we love to bring the heat. So this front four is going to have to definitely Payne, Allen, Ioannidis, those boys settle. They're going to get that push up the middle to kind of, like you said, get him off his mark.
Yep.
And it's going to be up to Chase and Montez to kind of seal those edges off. Don't let him get outside the pocket. Don't let him run around. So Tyreek Hill and like Travis Kelce and them guys kind of shake loose from the coverage, the already loose coverage that it is. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to, like I said, push the pocket, get him off his mark, and look at the teams that have beaten them so far. The Bills, the Chargers, those guys got him off his mark and they forced turnovers.
The Ravens.
The Ravens as well. They forced turnovers in that game. So we're going to have to push the pocket in, keep him inside the pocket, get him uncomfortable off his mark, and hopefully come away with some turnovers. That's the only way I see them stopping because, again, you end more offensive possessions for them. We gain more. That's the only way we're going to win this game. We got to have more possessions on offense than they do and hopefully score a little bit more than them as well.
Another thing you can do is have some dank food made in the stadium and just distract Andy Reid. I think that's like
oh Lord.
That's not funny.
I mean, look,
it is.
or have
It's
an
funny.
iceberg for the walrus to play on or something like a buoy.
I mean, look, Jesus is a free agent. I'm sure we can try and find him because like
Hey,
the defense
I've
will
been-
need it.
I've been needed to find Jesus for a long time. I would really appreciate it.
Oh my goodness.
The Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. They can sign him. You know what I'm saying? We'll have a better shot. You know, see how it works.
Brandon's last question to us is, and I'll start this with you, Jamal. I think it's a really good question. How much will our season change if we can pull out a win against the Chiefs?
Ooh, that's a really good question. What I will say, immediate, it'll ease everybody so like in the best way possible. Because of everything that's happened this week, but also understanding the perception heading into this game. Everybody in the offseason probably counted this one as a loss. Everyone after a few weeks said we about to get smoked against Kansas City. Like everybody said it. Most people believe it. I shouldn't say everybody because there's still some people out here who's going to say, you know, that they have faith that Washington win. But the point is, majority believe that Kansas City is going to come out on top. And then there's a larger portion of that people who think that it's not going to be close. So with Washington coming out a win against Kansas City, it immediately changes the outlook, at least for the foreseeable future, because then you're going up against Green Bay, and the odds are, well, if you can beat Kansas City, you can probably have a good shot against Green Bay too. And that trend continues, and it's also a confidence building thing for the team.
Yeah.
So who knows how it's going to play long term. There's always those games within the regular season in which you kind of don't expect them to win a team, whatever fan of a team you're on, but you don't expect them to win, and that happens every single year. That happens every single year. So like last year, I don't know, like heading into the season, I don't know how many people thought that Washington heading into the season. I don't know how many people thought Washington was going to beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
just about
Things
to bring
played
that
out.
up.
And this all
Yep.
Even that day
Yep.
of the game, nobody thought that they would win that game.
They were exactly.
They were undefeated at the time.
Yep.
No one thought we had a chance.
Absolutely. So like things like that happen, man. So it'll immediately change things for the better. Who knows how it turns out in the long run? Because you can still miss the playoffs and still actually end up playing poorly a few games later. But right now, it'll be an immediate boost for the confidence and outlook for the team.
I think Jamal answered that so well. I don't think we need to. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, 100%.
No, but
I also was going to add, though, I was going to say, it kind of depends how you win the game. If the defense comes out and gets a couple turnovers, they get a couple sacks, I think that'll kind of build the confidence of people like, okay, well, I know they gave up a couple plays last week that kind of determined the game, but maybe this defense, because the defense did play well enough last week, minus those 2 or 3 plays that obviously determined the game and broke the back. The defense played well enough to kind of win that game. Taylor Heineke
Definitely a lot
didn't
better
really
than they
play
had.
well enough to win that game.
Chase Young strip sack for the win.
Exactly. So if people kind of see Chase Young starting to get his sacks up and Montez getting pressure, them boys up front getting pressure, maybe a turnover or 2, I think people are starting to be like, hey, maybe this defense is kind of turning the corner a little bit. Maybe things are starting to – the wheel is slowly grandma style turning around the corner. And like I said, a little bit of confidence builder. Okay, maybe we did that against Pat Mahomes. Maybe we can do it against Aaron Rodgers next week. We'll see what happens. So
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, fellas, let's worry about Kansas
Absolutely.
City first.
real long
But
bridge.
to wrap this up,
Absolutely.
Jamal, I want to do a round table real quick because obviously it's big news. I know it's captivating and everyone, it's kind of been toxic. But the fact is, this is a celebration. This weekend, Washington football team is retiring Sean Taylor's number 21 for the Washington football team. I know that they said before that wasn't ever going to happen, that they were just not going to allow people to wear it. But it looks like they are retiring it. It's a big, big news. So, Jamal, I want to start with you. What is your favorite Sean Taylor memory?
Oh, I don't know. So it's crazy. I think '05 was probably the that entire season was probably just something memorable. The last two games that he had in the year, or excuse me, two of the last three because they played in Seattle. But
Yeah.
the Eagles game and the Tampa Bay game, man, it was something. Now he did get ejected, I believe, in that Tampa Bay game.
Spitting in
But
Michael Pittman's
um,
face.
yeah, but just the memory, the highlight of him running into daylight into the end zone, in two separate occasions was just incredible. Just understanding how special he was. But that season was something. But then like '07 against the Packers, that was probably my favorite, one of my
Brett Favre
favorite
game.
games to witness. Yeah, where he was all over the field and he should have had literally he could have had 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I
And
remember
he,
that.
Easily.
he dropped so
Easily.
many,
Yeah.
and he came up
Kept
with
dropping
two.
them, yeah.
He's
Now
the one who
I
put Brett Favre over the interception record.
Yep, I understand it was tough because it was kind of wet that day. So I cut him slack, but just understanding how many opportunities he had on the football that day was just something special. He was all over the field, and even then, and Brett Favre kept challenging him, and he kept losing.
That's a,
Yeah.
don't challenge Sean Taylor. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, definitely probably have to be the scoop and score against Philly. That's like obviously to this day that's one of like the most iconic like plays when they show the highlight reel of like big iconic plays in like Washington / Redskins history. They always show the scoop and score from Sean diving into the end zone. But I'm also kind of like along the lines of Jared Patterson where he remembers Sean's first preseason game where he got the pick six and like the
Denver.
hype was huge coming.
Your mic just went out, Hall.
Uh,
Hey, what about you, Reed? Go.
so obviously, I mean, you can't not mention the Pro Bowl hit, but I'm gonna go with something else because I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of a cop out.
Keep going. No, not you.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. I was like, what? I sound fine. No, I feel like that's kind of a cop out. So I'm gonna go with on the Monday Night Miracle game, the game where Santana Moss caught those two deep touchdown passes for Mark Brunell
Yeah.
to win. Sean Taylor had a couple huge hits, one on fourth down when Dallas was driving again, to possibly get in the field goal range and win. But then also against the Carolina Panthers, he had this crazy tackle
yeah.
on who was I forget, it wasn't Dwayne Jarrett, no, because he wasn't there then. Maybe it was. Or,
Oh,
Musha Muhammad. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
who,
probably
but he tackled,
Muhammad.
it was the way he
I'll
wrapped
tell
him
you in
around
two
the leg
seconds.
to stop the first down when Carolina was driving, possibly going to be able to get in the field goal range and win that game. I mean, that dude, he just came up clutch, man. He was so good.
Yeah, my favorite memory, I'll tell you, I was working at Agridulce as a busboy at the time, and obviously during high school and school, I had to work on the weekend, so I was working during the game, and it was against the Cowboys. They were lining up. They
Yep.
were lining up to kick the field goal to win the game, and I sat there and I watched it to the end. It got blocked, and then to see
Yep.
21 scoop it, and as he turns that corner to go upfield, I'm yelling, "Go upfield, go upfield!" And then I see him, his face mask just move for the slightest bit, and I was, "That's 15, that's 15. We could get a field goal here." And it just like when Sean picked up that ball, like you knew that
You
he
knew there was
wasn't
a
going
play.
to allow us to lose that game. Like he was like,
Right.
"I'm getting it to the point where we're gonna win." It just something out of this world, man. Sean was just, it was meant to be, bro.
That, and you can name so many hits too, like against the Steelers fullback. I forget his name back then. God damn, I can't think right now. But then he had that sack against the Bears where he like did a flip over Rex Grossman. I think
Yeah.
it was Rex Grossman, and like he just had so many plays where he just like everything he does look cool. Even taping his face mask and
Yeah.
spitting out blood and
Trendsetter.
stuff. Yeah, the guy got it.
What
and then
about-
Landon Collins had to disappoint us, but you know.
What about Hall? What about now?
Yeah, no, I was talking about the Eagles play, the scoop and score, obviously where he's diving in the end zone. But I was gonna say I'm also with Jared Patterson along the lines of his first preseason game where he came in, had the pick six, he was flying against the Broncos, flying all over the field. Because, I mean, I'm still like a pretty big college fan, but back then I was a huge college fan, and obviously I watched him at the U. I knew all the hype. I watched him like highlight plays, blowing people up in college.
That
So
hit
for
against
him to
Florida
come
State.
here, I was kind of like, I was so psyched. I was like, oh, like, and for him to just come out the first game and just kind of just show and prove, like, yeah, I'm about to terrorize people. I'm about to be here for a long time, and I'm about to like turn your franchise around. I was like I was literally just like the happiest person in the world because I'm like, I'm finally gonna have a winning team to root for, finally in my life. And again, obviously for it to end so tragically, so short, it's just like, damn.
Yep.
Right.
But we're celebrating it this
Yeah.
weekend, thankfully. And finally, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
It's something we've been clamoring for, that we've wanted to happen, and obviously the circumstances are what they are. But that being said, Jamual, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, sir. I really do appreciate you coming on and joining us. I love your podcast that you do, Trap or Dive, that you can find on all the podcasting platforms that you do with Andre, who contributes to the BurgundyZone.com for us as well. But before you get out of here, any last minute comments?
Nah, just more so, as always, man, I appreciate y'all, support, man. I appreciate y'all showing love, but, anytime I get a chance to chop it up with you all, man, it's not a problem. Check in, you know what I'm saying? Get that thing done. So appreciate y'all having me tonight. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. So
Oh yeah,
Kansas City
for the game, I forgot.
Yeah. Kansas City wins. It's probably like a 38 to 27 or 38 to 30 type of win for Kansas City. Like I said, Washington will be competitive, but yeah, Washington will be competitive, man. But it's just gonna be hard to keep up with a team like that. So, in my opinion, so that's kind of where I'm at. But Washington will be competitive, man, and that's kind of where we are for me.
I agree with you there. I can't argue with you, Jamual. But right, and before you get out of here, just in case there's anybody watching that doesn't know who you are and where they could find you, if you want to plug all your social media stuff so we can get some traffic.
Oh yeah. So you can find me on Twitter at Let Maul Tell It. Make sure you take a look at that name in this Zoom call, because my name is not MAL, it's MUAL. So Let Maul Tell It. And then the YouTube Chopper Dive. If you just type that in on YouTube, you should probably be able to find it. And everything is set from there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Jamual, and bringing some logic into this fan base tonight, because, dude, we need it.
Hey man, we gotta do what we gotta do sometimes, So this is one of those weeks where we need it.
And keep up the
y'all
great
be
work,
safe,
Jamual.
All right, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Man. Have a good
Be
weekend,
safe,
man.
brother.
Yep. Hey, same to y'all.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with the ultra talented, my man Jamual. I absolutely love his thoughts and just the way he thinks about the game of football. One of those people that I lean on
Twitter.
Yeah, and their
he
podcast
puts
is
some
so
like
good too.
thought-provoking stuff out there. I like it.
Yeah, they're so good at what they do, both of them. They just always bring a good perspective. They always bring a real perspective too, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's look, man. I don't know, man. People can say whatever the heck they want. I don't care. But let's go to another fan question that we have before we get into our next guest, which it might be a little bit longer until they get here. You just hit me up. That being Zach Selby. But the Colonel has a question for us, guys.
Yes.
And I'll start this one with you, Reed. He wants to know, is Zach Ertz a player Washington might have considered, especially at the cost of the player and the 5th round pick?
I mean, well, they consider. Yeah, I think that they look into just about all these trades that are really offered out there, but I don't know how realistic it was. Look, I really like what Ricky Seals-Jones has been doing. I've been a fan of him, but you're right. They could definitely use another body, just because you haven't really seen Bates pan out. I mean, you're one injury away from being very, very shorthanded at tight end. So did they look at it? More than likely. Why they didn't do it, I don't know. I don't know what goes on in there, but it would have been interesting. I think he ended up in the perfect situation in Arizona. But yeah, I mean, I really think that they're excited to see what they got with Ricky Seals-Jones. I mean, the guy just started playing tight end not long ago, so I think that they really see something in him.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I just don't think that Philly would have traded inside of the division, to be perfectly honest with you.
But especially because he's always Ertz. It's like hurt. I'm gonna log off now. I'll see you.
Dude, the fact that you had to explain it, I was surprised that you did that.
That's
but no, I don't think that.
And I'll be homers.
Like that. This is the reason why they kept 4 tight ends. I know Samus Reyes is injured, but because it's like you'd be giving up a 5th rounder just for a short-term Band-Aid. And I know that obviously that would help a lot with Zach Ertz, but you also have you have to bring in the variable of the fact that he has to gel with the team and get acclimated with the offense before he get in there and actually be productive on a play-by-play basis. And so you'd be sending a 5th rounder just for maybe a week before Logan comes back, because Logan comes back week 10. That's expected to be. So that's why I don't think Zach Ertz would have been somebody they'd be looking into. I keep saying the name Jordan Hicks, man, out in Arizona. If that's still a thing, if you can get Jordan Hicks for like a 5th rounder, man, I'd be ecstatic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Ron said before, they probably look into like a lot of guys, a lot of free agents, a lot of trade potential stuff, but I don't think they were actually gonna pursue it or even kind of on the radar about it. Would he helped? Maybe, but like you said, Logan's coming back eventually. I think they like what they see in Ricky Seals-Jones as far as like a pass catcher. and obviously Zach Ertz would have come in just to be a pass catcher most likely.
Right.
So and then they have a guy like Bates who like he's still the young guy they drafted him. Maybe they want to get him on the field, see how he progresses, see how he's doing so far throughout the season. So uh, yeah, I don't think Ertz was on their radar, but again, if it was, it would be one thing if Logan was maybe done for the year and
Right.
they were kind of thin in position and Ricky Seals Jones was the only guy left, kind of like viable to play at this point. I think then yeah, maybe they would have like looked into it even a little bit deeper. But as long as Logan's coming back, I feel like, especially after the bye week, I just think that they're just like banked in. They're set on Logan and Ricky Seals Jones and maybe Bates and Reyes if they can get on the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
By the way, if he stays healthy, how good is that Cardinals offense? Like that's just another weapon. I know he's not what he used to be, but that's just one other weapon for offenses to worry about. I mean,
you
they
saw
got
last
something
night, he's
special
still
out there in
viable in the
Arizona,
red
man.
zone as well. So
Exactly right.
The ironic thing is that I have Logan Thomas in fantasy, and I picked up Zach Ertz last week as a replacement just to have him. And obviously, it's funny because Colonel's asking, was Washington looking at Zach Ertz as a replacement for Logan Thomas at the time? So it's just, I was just making that stupid for no reason.
Yeah, but you're not God, bro.
But I have a question for you guys that I actually had written down for Jamal and us, or possibly Selby. But I decided I'm gonna save this for y'all. And I thought of this one. And look, I kind of have to explain it first. And what I mean by this is because, given with the new regime, given with the turmoil of the fan base and how pissed off everybody is, and how there are going to be a lot of people in the stadium commemorating Sean Taylor, and there are a lot of people coming back that haven't been there in years, right? So my question to you guys is this the most important game in Washington football team history?
I don't know about in history
Because my meaning for that is if they
I know
pull
because everything surrounding it.
if they pull off this win with all the new people being there, this could be the start of something great, or this could be literally the beginning of the end and the collapse of what was.
Yeah, man, if you put it like that, I still won't go biggest game because they've been in 3 Super Bowls. They've won 3 Super Bowls, so I would consider those like bigger games just based off of being the Super Bowl. But
I mean,
I
of
do
course.
think
I mean,
yeah. But I was as far as like regular season goes, like non-playoff division, not all that stuff. I do definitely think this could go down as like one of the biggest games that they could somehow come out and beat the juggernaut in the Chiefs, the high-flying offense in the Chiefs, and kind of like I said, maybe bring a little bit of hope and faith back to, okay, well we beat the Chiefs, like oh anything's possible now. Maybe we can maybe stack a couple wins here and there, and maybe the season really isn't over yet, and people just already throwing in the towels because they're 2-3. But at the end of the day, most people had us at 3-2 at this point anyway, 5 games in.
Right.
So we're only one game off the mark of what people's expectations were in the first place. Now, the way that they won, yes, obviously it makes people skeptical, and the defense has been playing pretty bad. So obviously people are going to be kind of mad about that. But at the end of the day, wins are wins. It's hard to come by in the NFL. So again, if you can get a win against a juggernaut like the Chiefs, with everything surrounding it on Sean Taylor's retiring of the Jersey Day, I 100% think that regular season wise, this will be one of, if not the biggest game in Washington football, NFL, Redskins, whatever you want to call it, history.
yeah, and one of the reasons why I say that is because, there's two things generally that happens that makes fans say, like, oh, this is the same old team. They haven't changed at all. And that is whenever controversy comes up or if they get blown out. If they look like crap, they don't look like they belong, right? And so with all the fans coming back to watch Sean Taylor this weekend, going against the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs offense that is highly respected around the league, with this team, with all the controversy going in, with nobody believing that they have a chance, if they go in front of all those returning fans and they pull off the W, because the biggest thing is it's the fan base wanting to be proud of something, being proud of the product that is there. And if that happens, if they pull off the win, it could be something, a starting gear of saying things are different. And that's what I mean about it being possibly the biggest game in Washington football team history, of being the start of when they came back.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It definitely could be. It's one of those things where it's weird because, like, if they win, you're right. This could be like a turning point to something serious. Like, this is huge. But if they lose, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, nobody expected them to win, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really affect them that much. But yeah, I mean, this is the most important game, certainly thus far of the season. I know that every game that happens is the biggest game of the season. But for sure in the last few years that I can remember, it's the biggest game. It can do the most for you. That's for goddamn sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that word for GD for sure. What's up
Right.
for Kyle? Sure.
Now, our guys, the HTWR podcast, Freddie and Maddie Jane. I love you guys. I know you guys had an emotional podcast today. Given with everything, Freddie's probably the biggest Sean Taylor fan in the world, to be perfectly honest with you. And I know that they've had a rough time, but they have a question for us, and I'll start this one with you, Reed. He wants to know, what would you do with Sean's locker at the eventual new stadium? An interactive exhibit? Put it outside Section 21? Video boards showing Sean's highlights? What do you think?
I don't. That's I've never thought about that. That's a pretty cool thing to do. You could definitely make that interactive. Have some of these, just so that way some of these younger kids that never really got to watch Sean Taylor and never, because we always forget how old we are now. Like a lot of people that are coming up that are like they didn't get to watch much Sean Taylor, or they certainly don't remember him as much. And they could definitely learn a lot about him. I think that his like he's one of those players that's attractive to any era because of the way that he played the game. Like
Yeah.
everybody will fall in love with a Sean Taylor, like no matter everybody. So I think that they could definitely do something like that, turn it into something interactive and maybe about his life story, his playing career. Have Joe Gibbs, his former teammates, talking about him. I would love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea, Freddie, because what comes to mind is like a section of the stadium where you walk into a dark room like you would at a museum, and it's like Sean's career, not only as a professional for Washington, but also his college. Like you can have a video set up for his college highlights with like his college uniform, gloves set up there in a glass case that fans can look at, and then keep moving forward. Then you can look at his rookie year in the 36 jersey standing up and what he did that year, and then the 21, obviously, at the end of it with his jersey, with his locker and everything. Because to your point, Freddie, of it showing Sean's highlights, having the interactive exhibit, and that way the younger fan base could kind of feel connected with what was old with Sean Taylor, finding out who he was and what he represented and how much he meant to this team. I think that's a fantastic idea, Freddie, for an interactive exhibit, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, all those are great ideas. I like the idea of like, sorry, there's people yelling outside. I like the idea of like the locker maybe being like somewhere inside the stadium where everyone's kind of like the main area of everyone walking through into the stadium, and like people can stop and take a picture with it, stuff like that. Maybe a statue next to the locker as well, because again, Sean Taylor. I mean, Grant said it on the radio the other day. For me, he was like, if you're 40 and under, like everyone has like their guy with the like Washington, like the Redskins back there. People had Riggins, they had Theismann. Like he said 40. I'm gonna knock it down. 35 and
James
under.
Thrash.
Yeah, that was my guy. 35 and under, like Sean Taylor, like that was our guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we came up with Sean Taylor. We watched that dude like grow with the team, kind of like as we grew with the team. So, and he was a superstar in the making.
Right.
So, I definitely think like a statue, maybe like inside the stadium somewhere, where like as you can like pass by, take pictures
Yeah.
with it. His locker out in the open, kind of like obviously in like a glass case. Maybe even next to the Super Bowl trophies, because to bring back kind of like the golden era of like, hey, look, we won, we can win again, guys. Next to Sean Taylor's locker, you can take pictures with those, and just something to kind of like you say, get the fans like excited as they're walking into the stadium. Like obviously it's a new stadium, but like I said, something exciting to be like, okay, they do care about Sean. They know they know how much he means to us by putting this here for us to kind of see and take pictures with.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. Now our next question is from our guy Scott Hartley in the UK. Oi! And he wants to know, it's a genuine question, he says, would you accept Tanya Snyder as owner if Dan was forced out, or do we want a full clean break from it all? I'll start with you, Hall.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it because she seems like a person that would just kind of sit back and collect the money and be like, you guys do whatever you need to do, business and football side. But at the end of the day, if hypothetical, because it's probably never gonna happen. But if Dan Snyder was ever to sell the team or resign or step down, whatever, it would just be a clean break. They wouldn't keep Tanya Snyder around. It would just be a clean break, a whole new ownership group, a whole new owner come in for the to own the team. So, again, would I mind it? No, because she seems like the type of person that would just, okay, business side, you guys sit back and you just bring me the numbers and tell me the daily reports. Obviously, football people, you guys do what you do. I'm not even gonna even look on your side of the room. I'm gonna stick to like what I know, which is collecting money and just relaxing. So
Yeah,
that's
and
kind of where I'm at with it.
okay, and Scott, thank you for this because I'm going to use this as the time for the little short amount of time I said on Twitter earlier that I was going to talk about the drama that happened this week and everything that has been said with going on with the Washington football team. Basically, my thought process is that yes, has things been crappy? Have things been horrible? Absolutely. Are they forgivable? Not sure about that. I'm not one to say somebody should be forgiven or whatever have you. My whole point is what I keep seeing is this word justice. We need justice for the women. We need justice for the people that had the uncomfortable environment and everything. My question to you is what is justice? And the only justice I see that everyone keeps saying is that Dan Snyder is stripped of ownership. And my point is who are you to say that is justice? Because you don't know all of the info, you don't know all of the facts. Right now, we are going based off of accusations and hearsay and speculation. And I understand we want transparency. We want to see what's in the report. I 100% agree with you. We should see what's in the report, and we will. But in the meantime, we shouldn't be going around and labeling people things. In the meantime, that being said, I'm not going to tell you to stop being a fan of this team. I just want all my people to come back home. I want FedEx to be the proud franchise that it is because what I see is a bunch of people who let Dan Snyder become the figurehead of this franchise instead of it being us, instead of it being the fan base, being revered as a very strong, willful, passionate fan base that sticks with this team through thin and thin, even though we've been dragged through hell. I understand it. I get it. I'm just saying, where is that pride of a fan base? I'm not saying that because right now everyone's acting like Dan Snyder is the Washington football team. He's not. He just owns it. We are the Washington football team. We are the fan base, and I just want us to be represented well because it seems like we're trying to spite Snyder by not going to the stadium, but the only people that spite are the people on the field and the people in the stands who are getting made fun of for being there and have to be watching other teams' fans in the building. Not going to tell you how to fan, not going to say anything else, but all I'm saying is what I'm seeing is every time any controversy comes up now, this current regime gets blamed for it being the same old, same old. And I don't think that is fair. I don't. Because they should be given the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is everyone continues to go back to, oh my God, it's same old stuff, same old stuff, same old stuff. It's like, wait a minute, man. Can we just take a breath? Can we stop panicking? Not everything is the end of the world, in my personal opinion. There's more to the story. There's always more going on, in my personal opinion. I'm sorry, everybody. I just want us back home. You guys could do what you want. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I really don't. I'm going to do whatever my thing. I'm going to continue doing this. You can boycott all you want. I just want our boys back home. I want our fans back home.
And yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, like people, it's tough because there's so many expectations so far for the year. And who knows, Washington could still play very well and end up going very far. And yes, a lot of stuff has happened off the field, but like we talked about, when we first signed Ron Rivera and Jason Wright for that matter, before last season, it was known. It was like, there's a lot of stuff going on with this franchise. This is going to be a process. This is going to take years. And it's finally kind of like stuff's coming out. Like we talked about earlier, you got to get the skeletons out of the closet and people are already like, all right, I'm out. I'm gone. And it's one of those where it's like, can you guys just like, let this develop, let the pieces fall where they're going to be, then make a decision. Like it's frustrating. But would I accept Tanya as an owner? Yeah, Tanya, she's a very nice woman. I mean, when we met her at training camp, she was really cool. And I do think that she would allow the football people to do football things. And I would be okay with that, definitely. Yeah. And plus, I mean, it's 2021, Scott, who says that she can't run it because she's a woman? Just like Scott, I can't believe you would say that. That's what he said, right?
No, that's not at all what he said. No, I just wanted to be honest with you guys. I love you guys. I really do. We wouldn't be here without all the support of you guys. But
because we want your money.
No, we just love doing this, and I understand why everyone feels the way that they do. I get it. I totally do. I just want everyone to come back home, baby. Just come back home. I know it doesn't make any sense at all. Why do you want to give Dan Snyder your money? And I'm not going to tell you should. I just want to bring I want to disconnect the fan base from that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I just want us to be us and be a proud franchise and not have Dan Snyder tarnishing what we represent because he owns it. I don't want to give him that benefit, because I want Tanya Snyder and Jason Wright to have a little thing on their belt to be able to say, we turned around and brought this fan base back without you, Dan. So in the future, when Dan does come back and say, I need to take control of this team because you guys don't know what you're doing, they can say, bull crap. We brought all the fans you sent away, we brought them back. And I know that maybe the team doesn't deserve that. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I want to see this thing work, man. I think this team can work.
Imagine the leverage in an argument Tanya Snyder would have if she really did buy a belt after they turned this around with a notch in it that said, did this without you, Dan. And he would never be able to argue with her ever again, because she'd be like, hey, Dan, you want to come see my belt real fast? Look at this. What's this say?
I know I didn't answer your question, Scott, by the way, and I'm sorry. But I just wanted to say that I'm not judging anybody. I really am not. We just need to get away from the guy, because it's ruining us as a fan base entirely. And just don't let it be the black hole. That's kind of how I view it. But you guys could do whatever the heck you want. Now let's bring this back to the game, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into our predictions.
Oh, wait, there's a game on Sunday?
There is a game on Sunday.
I didn't realize
What?
that. Why is there a game during the ceremony?
You would never think that.
What are your predictions for the game on Sunday?
Let's see. The sports ball team is going to beat the other sports ball team. There's going to hit a lot of 3-pointers. No, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it'll be very interesting to see how Washington comes out. And this right now, the way Kansas City's playing, do you guys remember maybe like 5 years ago when New England came out struggling bad, like they didn't play good, and everybody was like, this is the end for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and then all of a sudden they were going to run and they end up winning the Super Bowl. Kansas City right now almost reminds me of that, where it's like they're that good and people are starting to write them off and be like, well, they're, I mean, hey, maybe some of Mahomes' magic ran out, maybe Andy Reid, when he got liposuction, got the talent sucked out of him too, but that's like, they're going to turn it around. They're too good not to. They really are. I know on defense they struggle, but that offense is just way too good. Patrick Mahomes is too special. And I really think that Washington can, though, do some damage. And like we said, if they win this game, this is going to do a lot for their season. And I think that it's going to be close. It's going to be scrappy. I think that Washington's defense will be a little bit better, but it's not going to necessarily matter. I got Kansas City winning, and it's going to be 35 to 31. And it'll be fairly close, but Kansas City, of course, maybe our points, maybe it won't seem that close when you're watching it, but when you see the final score, you'll be like, all right, Washington, you were in that,
What about you, Hall? Are you gonna pick them to win?
Oh man. Well, like I said before, it's gonna come down to, can the guys up front get pressure with 4, because a 116.5 passer rating when bringing 5+ rushers. You don't want to go five rushers against Pat Mahomes. So I want to be like, I've been saying this all week, that this team randomly wins that one game every year when everyone doubts them, everyone counts them out. Somehow, someway, they come out beating a team they have no chance of ever beating on.
But now it's like, is that this week or next week?
Exactly, and that's where it's like, there's a tough stretch of games where that could be anything, honestly. But with that being said, like I said, I just think that the horses on that side of the ball are a little bit faster than our side of the ball. I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be close for 3.5 to 4 quarters, beginning of 4 quarters. But like I said, I just think that last little home stretch, that lead horse pulls ahead. I got Kansas City winning. I'll go 37-33.
You guys making me do it. You're making me do it.
I knew you were going to do it. So
you're making me do it. I want to make sure that's very evident. You're making me do it.
Kyle has been saying this.
There's a gun to your head.
Month.
Do it.
Yeah. I have not. I'll say they squeak it out 31-30. And it makes no sense at all. But Andy's boy, Dustin Hopkins, is going to seal the game with a field goal to win it. Because Chase Young,
you're getting ballsy.
I know, dude. I do, because we live in a simulation, Reed. You know this better than anybody.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know.
We have no idea, but things like this work. I don't know, but because you two picked them to lose, I'll pick them to win just to be different and maybe to be a stroke of luck. I don't know, But they win 31-30.
Kyle Damas.
I think JD McKissick is going to be the MVP of the game. I think he's going to be heavily utilized given the fact of the Kansas City defense possibly being high scoring. They're not going to be able to run the ball efficiently, so JD McKissick is going to be in the game a lot, catching balls out of the backfield and doing a lot of stuff on the ground. So I definitely think JD McKissick is going to be a huge, huge point of emphasis, and he's going to be the MVP.
Right. Yeah. You know how I know that this is a simulation? Good pick, Kyle, by the way. Because every night I go to bed or I return to my checkpoint and then I wake up at my checkpoint and restart everything. My checkpoint's my bedroom. So think about that. Flat or non-people that don't believe the simulation theory. Checkmate, you know?
Checkmate, you know. So Selby, I know Selby had said he was going to be closer.
No, it's cool, Selby. Good thing we're friends.
Not as close as Logan, but yes, we are friends.
This is what, we love you, Selby.
It's probably better for his sake, to be perfectly honest. I'm sure it's been a crazy, crazy week for him.
I just wanted to sing karaoke with the dude, get some baking tips, but nope.
Yeah, but last parting words, man. I just didn't want this weekend to be tarnished with the whole fan thing. Sean's family's in town, and can you just imagine having to go up to Sean's dad or mom and saying, hey, we're going to need you to fly back home. We're going to fly out. We're going to have to reschedule this, do this another time because the fans are pissed off. To honor their son at the right. I understand that you'd want a lot of people being there for your son to celebrate your son. I'm just saying having to redo everything because the fan base is angry. They didn't get enough heads up ahead of time. You know what I mean? And that's what doesn't sit right with me. And that's what almost seems selfish in a way to me. I'm not saying you are selfish. I'm just saying it seems selfish in that capacity. But no, you're right. When you think about it that way.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Especially this moment is for a family that lost someone. To us, he was all of our favorite players. I guarantee you, he was all of our favorite players. That was their son. That was their brother. That was their, who knows? He might have even been somebody's daughter, But no, that was a loved one. That was family. That was their own flesh and blood. That was their DNA. They want to be there and they want to celebrate them. And if you're gonna go there and boo, look, boo the franchise all you want, but maybe, like I said, time and place, man. Pick another game. Pick another week. When you see Pedro crying, go up to him and be like, hey, I just want you to know, when we were booing when they revealed the number, that wasn't because of your son. That was just because of this team. I'm sure he'll be like, oh, okay, thank you. That meant a lot to me. Thanks for clarifying that. No, they want to celebrate their son. Let them do that. I don't know. It just kind of rubs me wrong. I used to see people I'm going to go up there for the Sean Taylor thing. I'm going to boo the hell out of this team. It's do it, but just not maybe wait. I don't know. Call me weird.
No.
Anyway, I'm just an old chunk of coal, and I guess I'm set in my selfish ways. But
I know it's been a rough week for everybody. It really has.
Battle axe, Lindsay.
The fact that if anybody is still with this team, I feel really bad for people like Tim Meek. I feel really bad for people like Maddie Jane and Freddie Ham, who are huge fans of Sean and got the late notice it can't come, because they're the outliers to me. They're the people that continue to show up to games and are pissed off because they weren't able to go to this one and would have if they got prior notice. The people that I don't have sympathy for are the people that did quit on this team, that don't show up to games. All they do is hate on the team. They want to see low numbers because they want to see Dan gone. They want us to look bad. I don't feel bad that you did not get notified in time, to be perfectly honest with you, because I want supporters of the team there. I don't want people there showing up just to boo. I don't understand how that's fun for anybody, or the situation doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? And I understand, do your thing. Whatever the hell you want, do your thing. It's just, that's not what I want, not what I would do.
Santana Moss said it best. For the people that sold their tickets and are like, oh, well, I want my ticket back, or, well,
that's what I said.
It's too short notice and blah, 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 blah. Well, at the end of the day, why weren't you coming out to watch the game, support the team in the first place?
That's what I said.
This is obviously a bonus and an extra. I'm oh yeah, you a rah-rah thing. Obviously Sean Taylor deserves this and his family deserves this. But at the end of the day, people should be coming to the stadium to support the team, to watch the games, to support the team through thick and thin, ups and downs. Don't just come out when they're winning games and front running and yeah, everything's good. Come out when it's bad, because again.
Yeah.
When it's
part
bad,
of
when it's
being a
good,
fan, man.
yeah, don't try to jump on the train when it's
Yeah.
good. You got to stand on the rack. You got to stand on the rails when it's bad as well.
Which one of you guys though is going to get blessed by Coach Gibbs, St. Gibbs?
But last thing I'll say
Touches hand
is
for him.
about, I know 1067 Grant and Danny had Sean Taylor's brother on today and interviewing. He said that he found out about the Sean Taylor retirement on Monday. His dad told him. And so everyone is saying, like, this is the family finding out a couple days ago, showing that this wasn't planned and everything. I understand that could very well be the case. Everything that they have said up to this point could very well be a lie. I am just saying there are other ways that it could have happened realistically where it played out like this, and it was a colossal failure, not to really to anyone's fault, really, but just ignorance, I guess you could attribute it to. And the only thing I'll say is, maybe if we spent less time blowing up Jason Wright's inbox with about name change suggestions and about repairing the team name and telling him how much you wanted to see Sean Taylor and how much you'd want to be in the stadium to see Sean Taylor, maybe he would have had more heads up and notice to be able to make that happen for you, by the way.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing, like, look, obviously Washington, they could have handled this differently. But Kyle, we've talked to somebody who we know that's within the organization. I mean, from what we understand, yes, this alumni game has been planned and it makes sense. It's always in October or November. And were they necessarily planning to have this Sean Taylor retirement ceremony? Not to his knowledge, but he does know that they had been ongoing trying to work things out and squash things and get on good terms with the Taylors, so that way they could do this. And I think that maybe they were finally at that point and they were just like, oh, well, the alumni games this week, why don't we do it then? Or it's coming up, why don't we do it then? So then they did that, and it could have been handled better. Hindsight 2020, it should have been handled better, but but it wasn't. This is what it is. Everybody just needs to enjoy it. It sucks. I know. I do feel for those people that can't go. I'm not gonna go, but then again, I don't go to games, I gotta go be dad.
And then the last thing I'll say is Tailgate Ted yesterday had a great idea of having the Sean Taylor towels that they're giving out the game for sale on their team website. So any fan that can't go to the game and get a towel for themselves, they can go on the team website, they can purchase one of the towels, and the proceeds go to Sean Taylor's charity and for his daughter. So I think that's a great thing for everybody. Tailgate Ted, that was a fantastic idea. I'm glad the Washington football team made that happen. They're trying to right their wrongs. And look, this is the first time a team president has come out immediately on the same day and apologized for what they did and was transparent about what happened, was honest, and said they didn't know. You know what I mean? So I can't fault it for that.
Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, one last thing. Like, you rarely, when a player's getting their number retired, you rarely know about it until the week of. Like, I mean, that's just the way that it is. But you're right. It was Sean Taylor. That was all of our favorite players. They should have known that this one would have hit personal and hit close to home with guys.
Yes.
People, so.
And look, I know we are very far off and we are pushing this thing, but we have to talk to our guy, our
look
man,
who it is,
Zach Selby, about this game this weekend. A couple questions for you, Selby. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
It's been a late night. I just got back home. So the Friday traffic was brutal.
Well, you look good.
Well,
look good.
I mean, hey, trying to be like you.
Always. Well, I know.
Obviously, it's weird seeing Selby without the beard, man. It's weird seeing it.
I know, but it's a good face. You've got it. Usually, like me, when I shave off my beard, I'm just like I'm just.
Well, I've got a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow going, so it's just enough to accent my jawline a little bit. Actually, I got this weird little like silhouette going on. Let me just turn a little bit.
I like it.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So Selby, we're up against the hour here, but I do want to get your opinion on a couple things here for the Washington football team. First one being is Terry McLaurin today showed up to practice and had some soreness in his hamstring, and they held him out of practice. He was a DNP, wasn't held out at all in the entire week, but that tightness held him out today. Are you concerned about Terry McLaurin's availability on Sunday?
No, not really, and that's just because of the way he takes care of his body, honestly. This guy is insane when it comes to recovery. His coaches always talk about how he's prepared, how he does all the extra things to make sure that his body is right for game day. And maybe it is a little bit tight, but I think he's mostly fine. I would expect him to still be a big piece of the offense because they need him to be. Quite frankly, going up against the Chiefs, they're going to need to put up some points. And no, I not to like just dismiss your first question, but I really just think Terry's professionalism and the way he carries his business, I just don't see any issue with that.
Yeah, and speaking of concern and injuries, obviously Sheriff and Cosme are going to be out this game. What's your concern level for Schweitzer and Lucas going up against a guy like Frank Clark going into this game?
Not too much. I mean, certainly you'd like to have an All Pro out there and a rookie who's been playing like one of the best offensive linemen, in the league right now. Or at least rookie offensive lineman, I should say. But I mean, Wes Schweitzer has done a really solid job. He's a very physical guy. I don't know if you've watched some of the
He's
highlights.
a freak.
Yeah,
His Instagram
Getting dirty.
and also
his
the
workouts
all season, like the workouts are crazy. Like he does yoga, he does like a bunch of rock climbing stuff. Like it's clearly working. I don't know, maybe I need to incorporate some of this stuff. But and Cornelius Lucas also, this is a guy who was a starter last year and played pretty well. So it's nice to have a guy. Oh yeah, by the way, we've got and Schweitzer has started last year as well too. So you have we have guys who have starting experience out there. So yeah, you'd like to have Sheriff and Cosme out there for sure because of the way they've been playing very well. I mean, this is one of the best offensive lines in the league right now, and the numbers back that up. They're doing very well to protect the quarterback. They're mauling people in the run game. That's why Antonio Gibson is 12th in the league right now in rushing. Has had 60 yards in 4 of his last 5 games, average 4 yards a carry. That's why. And you have depth guys like that to kind of lessen the blow when you have injuries like that.
Right. Now, I know that there's really no answer to this question, but like, what can you do? I know you can't really slow down Patrick Mahomes unless Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid get in their own way. But what do you think Washington can do to kind of contend with this explosive Kansas City offense? And what are some things like, how can they keep pace with this Chiefs offense is basically what I'm trying to say, I think.
Well, it's definitely going to be a full team effort, which is kind of like a really super cliche thing to say, but let me kind of explain.
I set you up for that one though. So.
Let me explain that just a little bit. So offensively, you have to avoid turnovers at all costs. Like that's obviously like a big concern every game, but when you have a team who can score 30 points at will, whatever margin of victory, whatever margin of error, like it is, like it's almost like this much. Like it's like I'm like punching my fingers together as much as I possibly can right here because it's just impossible to have any kind of mistakes against this team because they're going to score no matter. Even if you don't have any mistakes, they're going to score. You also have to take advantage of the run game, and Tony Gibson, like I mentioned, has to be active because the defense is, I think, 29th in the NFL right now in terms of allowing rush. I think they average 141 yards per game, which is insane. They have done a good job of preventing one person from having a standout game.
Right.
But for teams like Washington, who has a lot of weapons that they can use on the ground, that presents some problems for the Chiefs. Now on defense, the pass rush has got to get there. It's just got to get there because we saw what Mahomes, the effect Mahomes can have like whenever he's under pressure. I think he was under pressure like 52% of the time in the Super Bowl, and they lost 31-9.
Yeah.
I mean, now certainly that's not going to solve all your problems because you still have Tyreek Hill to worry about. You still have Travis Kelce to worry about. But Joe Thuney and Orlando Brown have done exactly what they expected them to do. They're Mahomes has been one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league right now. I think their adjusted sack rate is like 3.7% or something. It's second lowest in the league right now, which is very, very, very productive. So it's really that simple. Well, I shouldn't say that simple, but if you can do those things, it's really going to help your cause out.
Right. And now, like, when we're talking about this game going against the Kansas City Chiefs offense, there is no such thing as stopping it, right? Because at some point it is going to get going. They could score in seconds, essentially. But slowing them down is differently. Now, if Washington was going to be able to put themselves in a position to win, what is more important for them? Limiting Tyreek Hill or limiting Travis Kelce?
I would probably say I feel like it really just comes down to who you think is a better player, honestly. And I think Travis Kelce is going to get yards no matter what. Tyreek Hill, you have to find a way to limit him in some capacity. This is why you got a guy in William Jackson. This is, and he's had his ups and downs for sure, but this is example A of why you have a guy in William Jackson who's supposed to be a pretty solid man corner. You want to have him follow Tyreek Hill around wherever he is and lock him down as best he can. Now he's going to need some help for sure. That's why you have Cam Curl. That's why hopefully you have some some good safety depth in Landon Collins and Bob McCain. Like this is why you invest in all that. And it's been kind of iffy on how that production has really sorted out over the past 5 games. But still, this is if there's a time to show up, it's now. And that's really as simple as that.
Now, who do you expect if you were to have a prediction? I'm not saying or anything, but if you were to guess, who do you think that they're going to put on Travis Kelce in passing situations?
It's a very good question. I don't think Benjamin St-Juste is going to be that guy. Even though he's a very physical guy, he might help out at the line of scrimmage. But I think William Jackson is the dude. I really do. Just because of the way he's supposed to be a man guy. And he's also got some physicality to him as well. And I think you want to have a more experienced guy there, like I said. I mean, maybe if Benjamin St-Juste was in like the 4th or 5th year, you could see what he does. But William Jackson has the acumen, he has the resume, so prove it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Prove why you were the man guy that everyone sought after in free agency.
Right. And now to wrap this up, Selby, my last question for you is your prediction for the game, and then if they did win miraculously, what would that do for the season?
Well, I know that a lot of people were really expecting Chiefs to just blow Washington away right now. I haven't looked at what the over/under is or the line or anything like that.
I think it's 6.5.
6 something, yeah.
6.5. Okay, well, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But like I said, a lot of people are expecting them to just demolish Washington, and I think it will be closer than people think.
Okay.
I'm not going to go out there and say that Washington's going to win or Chiefs are going. It's going to be a lot closer than I would say it's probably like at least it's a score. I think it's a touchdown game, one way or the other. Because I think the offense is playing. To me, I think the offense is making a lot of really solid stats right now. I think they're 12 in scoring, and once they do get going, once they kind of get out of their own way and you start to rely on their playmakers like Terry McLaurin and Tony Gibson, DeAndre Brown hopefully will be out there. But either way, DeAndre Carter has also kind of stepped into that role as well. So when they all get going, they can put up some points and they can score.
Right.
But it really just comes down to the mistakes that they make. And I think in terms of what it will do for the season, it will definitely ease a lot of people's frustrations about the way how the team has been performing thus far. I mean, when you win against the Chiefs, like that kind of makes a lot of people happy. You know, more often than not. Right. But I think it's one part of a very long equation, particularly in the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, because after this you have the Packers, and then you have the Broncos, who are no slouches. Their defense is very good, and then you have the bye before you play Tom Brady, and then you have the next half of the season, which is statistically a little bit easier, but the Raiders are still pretty good, even though John Gruden has resigned. You still have the Seahawks. I mean, who knows when Russell Wilson's going to come back on IR.
He should be back by then.
He's practicing already.
It's kind of in that teetering sort of area.
Yep.
And then the Cowboys. Hate to say it, the Cowboys are.
I know.
Really, really damn good.
But get back to this Tom Brady fella. You said how's he? Is he any good?
I've heard he's okay. I mean, the 6th round pick, so I don't know how much.
It's so weird. If you were to tell me before the season that our offense would be 12th right now, I'd be like, oh my god, we're probably almost undefeated. We're probably we're a really good team.
Now, everybody, I wanted to thank you guys so much for tuning in with us, and then especially you, Selby. Days like today and a week like this is not a time that I usually envy somebody like yourself with everything that you do. I understand, and I appreciate you continuing to represent the team and coming on, taking time to join us during all of this crazy controversy, you could say. Thank you so much, Selby. You're a very good friend of the podcast, so I can't thank you enough.
Yes, thank you.
I always show out for you guys. Always, best I can.
And like I said, you rigged that one award for us to win, so that was cool.
But do we have a 5th guest on the podcast here?
Yeah, he's trying, but he's just being a menace right now and driving
just
me
like
crazy.
His father.
Yeah.
Right, Selby, you have a great night, sir. I can't thank you enough. Hopefully, maybe we'll probably won't, but good luck this weekend. We'll be there. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing this ceremony. Have a good weekend, brother.
Absolutely. Y'all take care.
Have a good night, brother. All right, everybody, we just spoke with Selby, and that's going to wrap
Yes.
us up for this episode, everyone. Again, just wanted to say I love y'all. You know, it sucks that we're in this situation. We're yelling at each other. I just want us to get off internet, stop yelling at each other, just get back to the stadium and getting back to celebrating and having a good time. And obviously, a lot of things have to happen. But look, man, I just want to have fun, y'all.
The internet and people yelling at each other, that doesn't happen.
All right, everybody.
Come
I'm
on,
Kyle.
Heel.
I'm Hall.
Baby. My name is Lil Wayne, man. You gotta go check out my new album, man.
Ridiculous. All right,
I'm-
everybody. Come join us. Come to the stadium. Let's watch this game together. Regardless, let's just do it for Sean, man. Let's show up one time for the homie. Let's watch the game. Come back home. It's been a while, man. Let's all enjoy this together. Let's not let Snyder get in between us and Sean Taylor. All right, everybody. Washington football. Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!